What is going on? I want to thank you for coming to Vape with a Viking. So today we got the other half of my MTL extreme setup here. We're going to be looking at the Ether RTA, and that is of course by the Vaping Bogan and Suicide Mods. And forgot to put up his logo, so I'll just make a shout. And Cloud Boss Designs, which is Richard, the genius behind that Richard. So yeah, of course Richard, Cloud Boss. Anyway, so the nice thing is this is an RTA specifically for an MTL. Before we get into the dive down and even Viking's Advocacy minute, threw something a little different in here. I actually got this from Danny at After Dark Vapes, which if you haven't seen it on Facebook, he does run a group and has some pretty killer deals. Can't get into details because of Facebook and all that, but check out Danny at After Dark Vapes. But it's some cherry blue cola, which not a lot of branding on it. The only thing I could see is Juice Man, possibly very, 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 very tiny at the bottom. So I'm pretty sure that's who makes it. But yeah, Juice Man, cherry blue cola. And of course I got this in bypass mode and we're at a 0.59. It is really, really, really good juice. And I had an idea it probably would be because it's 6 milligram. So I got it higher for an MTL. But sometimes with MTLs and some juices, it's not a big enough coil or enough power to really get things to popping. But this does. It has this nice blue cherry and cola, even with the little bit of that fizziness or carbonation in there. It's just really, really good. So yeah. So definitely shout out to Danny. I bought this, so shout out to me for buying this. And you'll see the glass. I did get the glass pack with this, so you'll get to see the full kind of review, I guess, with this. Viking's Advocacy minute, getting real quick, guys. Basically, like I've been saying for a while, so much stuff going on right now. We just want to focus on the important stuff. Take care of you, take care of your family, take care of your friends with what is going on, being massively spread through the virus and everything. Just make sure, take care of you, yours, and your own. So, but definitely when it comes to vape advocacy, go to Twitter. Twitter is the vaping battleground right now. Go in there, check out, of course, Bogan, Matt from Suck My Mod or SMM, Phil, Dimitri, and of course, one of the big ones, Grim Green. They are what I'm calling basically our vaping advocacy generals. Go support them. They are fighting daily, making great political connections to help us fight for all of our rights of vape. So just don't think they're doing it for themselves. They're doing it for all of us, guys. So definitely go give those guys some love. I'm ready. You ready? Yeah, I think we're ready. Let's drop the hammer on the ether. All right, so what I got for you today is a little RTA by, we've got the Vaping Bogan and Suicide Mods. All right, so what we got, of course, is the Ether, which, of course, kind of give it away with the little glass pack there. But they do include with the RTA itself a big, huge warning disclaimer thing for it. So that's extremely large. So I guess here you go. Here's my nicotine warning symbol right there. There you go. But anyway, so what we got is an RTA. It is designed to be a very, very restrictive direct lung or good MTL RTA. So you've already seen a lot of reviews on this, but I'm definitely good to enjoy. I'm gonna do something a little different with this one as well. So let's get into that portion of it. On the box, like just showed you earlier, you got a little Bogan skull and crossbones. Nothing else. A little Suicide Mods right there. Nothing other than that. Really cool script they went with. And then the glass pack is the same way. You got Bogans and Suicide Mods right there. And this is, you can tell, very extremely reflective, like silver. It's like killing my lighting going on here. But anyway, that is the glass pack. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. So in the box, what you're going to get is your user manual. And as you see here, it's a little bit probably easier, better to see right there. Suicide Mods and Bogan, Ether RTA manual, Some really cool font. They kind of went through the whole deal, which in a different language, I thought that looked really, really kind of neat. So, but use the same kind of fonting. You're going to get a bag of spares, which is going to include 2 of the deck screws, some O-rings, and various little O-rings, and we'll show you where those will end up going. And then you're going to get another pouch that's going to have even more O-rings, and then these super, I don't even know if the lights probably count. No, it's right there. Super, super, super tiny, tiny, tiny little O-rings. And those are for these guys right here. Let's get a little closer. And what they are, I don't want to take them out because I will lose one of those little guys. But these are going to be your mouth-to-lung, basically airflow deck adapters. So those little tiny O-ring guys, they go onto there. You do have 2 of them in there. And as far as I know, we'll get the calipers out and look, but I'm pretty sure they're the exact same size. And then you have a chimney extender, which is where the glass will come into play. And then inside the rest of the box, you're going to get, of course, your RTA. You're going to get a Ultim section. You're going to get a smoked section. And of course, Ultim is PEI, but that's just Ultim is the name brand of it. But this is going to be more of your juice resistant, get out of there, juice resistant type of plastic, essentially. So this is a plastic one. The smoke is pretty sure glass as well. I don't know, it might be. Yeah, the smoke, I believe, is a type of PEI, not really plastic, but it would probably be the kind that is not what they call tank cracker juice resistant, which is going to be your highly citrus, menthol, especially cinnamon types of vapes. Those will definitely do what are called tank cracking juices. But then also you're going to get a couple drip tips in there. And here's the different drip tips. You got one more of a kind of a stubby, and then one that is a little bit longer than, of course, what's on there originally. So what's on there originally is kind of, I would say, stubby, just like this one. This one's got more of a rounded edge, where this one's got more of a harder square edge. So when it comes to actual diameter, we'll take this guy out of there. On the 2 stubbies, like I said, one is definitely more of the kind of rounded, almost donut looking type of drip tip, where this one's more the squared off. But also, you look at diameter, this one's going to be more for, I would consider, more that restrictive direct lung, or this would be more for the MTL. And then you're going to have the longer one, which is essentially the same, looks like about the same inner diameter as the little short MTL. So I would almost consider stubby MTL, long MTL, and then you have basically your direct lung stubby. They are just the double O-ring 510, so any 510 will fit into the top of that guy. But now you have the device itself. So we got the drip tip out of there. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of moisture kind of build up. That's on me. I just, of course, wash it. I wash all my stuff before I even start using it or present it to you. So now some people might say that's bad because you can't see any of the true stuff that's on there. Wash everything anyway. Just do it anyway. It's if it's dirty, who cares? Clean it up. So, but what we have here is it's going to be surprisingly familiar if you've used a said device, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But first, let's continue this. So the top you have is kind of like a little half twist, and then it catches. So you got like a little half twist, and then it pulls out. And what you have there is just the 2 little like teeth that will grab into one spot and then come around. And that's, of course, how it keeps itself down. You just have that little mechanism there. Again, you'll probably see why I switched with that little top O-ring. This is going to look a little familiar to you when we get to it. But then the juice fill holes, there's 4 of them on this guy, and they are absolutely huge kidney shape, or not even kidney, just bean shaped, I guess, fill holes. Amazingly huge. That's really cool. In MTL, you almost never see that. And then we'll get to the airflow here. The airflow is a little different. I'm not going to be able to probably pick up the noise without going off camera, but this thing is super, super clicky, and it literally clicks in every position. You can tell there's some ball bearings or something in there. So what we'll do is we'll put this here and see if this will pick it up. My AC's on. Summer sucks. We're recording, but we'll see if we can pick this up. Hopefully, I'll adjust the volume on that. You'll be able to hopefully hear that. But so you're going to have 4 holes here. That's going to be your wide open. And then you can cut them down a hole at a time. And then another basically setting starts popping up. And then you have a couple here. So you could go 3 open if you wanted, or just 2. And you keep going. And you could do 1 until you finally get to the single by itself here. And then if you really want to MTL that guy out, you have this tiny, tiny, I would say probably 0.5 millimeter. I don't even know if we'll be able to pick that up. Maybe 0.5 millimeter hole. Yeah, so that's a 0.5 millimeter hole in that guy. So that's hugely, I guess tiny. Very, very tiny. Not hugely tiny. That'd be kind of goofy to say. But anyways, so we're going to go ahead and, since these are out, go to the bottom. You are looking at a 24 millimeter, but no drip tip. And of course, no 510 because it'll be seated. You're looking at about 35 millimeters in length. And then we're going to get to the bottom here real quick because of 2 reasons. One, I'd like to show you, it is definitely hybrid safe. It's got a very nicely protruding gold-plated 510 on there, but then also, get this box out of the way so it stops triggering there. You want to see some of Richard, the Cloud Boss designs. He did this etch work, this artwork for Suicide and Bogan. This will show you kind of like he's the one that did the button for my Nameless V2. That he does some pretty cool work. So you got Bogan there, you got Suicide, and then of course you got your warnings and stuff, and then basically kind of like a graffiti thing going on there. So definitely shout out to Richard or Cloud Boss Designs on that. That's really cool. Now, since we've done all that, let's go into the deck itself. And we're going to take and put it on, of course, a Bearded Viking Customs Skahulk, proudly made in South Africa. So one that I thought was like, oh, this is like the most amazing color for my channel. A little red, a little black. Really cool looking. So shout out to Brent, Mr. Bearded Viking, not Mad Viking. That's me. This is him. We'll take a look at that deck real quick. As you pull it up, you'll see you got your deck, and you do have the serial number that is actually on the deck itself. Just a 2-post design. And we'll go ahead and get this guy out of here. Because one thing I did want to show, and this could help. This isn't meant to hurt or to point something out or be mean or whatever to anyone, but what I really thought of this when I first opened this up and saw how this had a huge kind of big base deck here, had the O-ring there, and then you put this on top and the shape of it and how it went on there, and that's what left the juice wells exposed, and then how the top threaded in there. I know there's not a ton of different things you can do with it, but I thought it was really reminding me of this. So if you do not know what this is, I did not do a review on this guy, but I did want to kind of show this off. If you see with the Trilogy, you do have that kind of big deck with the O-ring, and then you have this hat basically type of cover that when you screw it down, that's how you get to your juice wells. Now they have holes there, but I mean, it's very, very shockingly similar. And even the way that the top goes into it and screws in, it's very shockingly similar. So now, what I want to say on that, though, I'm not saying that, oh my God, this wasn't Bogan's idea, this wasn't Suicide Mod's idea, so on and so forth. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you like the Trilogy, you will probably like this right out the bat. I mean, you could literally probably stop watching and go buy one. Now, what I think personally, probably what happened with this is Bogan, Suicide Mods, and them got together. They wanted to do kind of that same design, kind of like the Trilogy, but they wanted to do an MTL. And that's where I think Bogan came in going, hey, I will show you C's. I'm not going to say the word because, yeah, some people don't like that word. I'm going to show you C's how to build an MTL. And what he did is pretty plain. If you look at the build deck here, it's just, just that kind of 2-post GTA style, Skyline style deck. So you have your peak insulator here for your positive. You're going to, of course, have your airflow here, and then your negative here, and then they'll just drop. Your wicks will drop down in here. And just like any other GTA style deck, or some people I've heard call them Skylines, you just drop your wicks down in there. They don't want to be touching the base deck. It's kind of like the Aries in that. Don't touch the base deck. You want to just barely have them dangling down in there. And what that's going to do for you is juice will get to your wicks, not a problem. All right, so one of the things that, besides your wicking, I thought was pretty plain, pretty simple, but one of the things I really enjoyed when looking at this guy is a lot of MTLs, RTAs do this wrong. Now, of course, just like most good ones, you're going to have these little walls here, and what they're going to do for you is they're going to help capture your leads when you put them in there. So that's pretty much a must anymore on any decent like MTL RTA, or even some of the direct lung RTAs. But what I liked is when you get into these screws, normally most devices that I've been playing with even here lately, MTL, they stop probably about, I would say right about in there. You can barely get anything in between the screw and the leg, which also limits you to a very, very small build or massive wire, where this, you can actually take and get, I haven't gone all the way as far as I can go, but before you even start getting right about there, you start getting some play in that screw. And let's see, a little shiny to it, so you might not be able to see real well, but you can easily get something down in there pretty, I would say serious, but I mean, you don't want to get too serious with this kind of build deck, but it definitely can handle, 3-core like mouth to lung aliens, some fuse Clapton stuff. I mean, the deck is definitely built to put something other than round wire or tiny wire in it. So that is brilliant. The glass pack, I did also buy some of the flat wire, the stainless flat wire from Vapers Cloud when I bought this. So I did make a flat wire little coil in there. It's 2.5, and it's just a couple wraps, and it's just really pretty looking. At least I would kind of wish I had a DSLR or something and show that bad boy off, but we're gonna throw that on there. And we're also going to use temperature control, which is going to be something different, but we're also going to need this pack right here, because we're going to use the extension, and of course we're going to put the little mouth to lung guy in there. How easy it can be to put this guy in, because my fingers, I don't really feel much in my hands anymore. So this is for people who have either really big hands, or have a job like mine where it is stress on, or even if you have carpal tunnel, whatever, this will kind of help you out. So what I've been looking at is just all you have to do is take that insert and take some ceramic like tweezers or something, and just let it go in there, and then just take and kind of just guide it in there, a little push down, and it just seats in there like that. Little push. The O-ring is a little dry, so it does not want to go. Pushes in there, down like that. So that's going to make that super restrictive. So what, like I said, we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll use, I nicked up some of Jane's Under a Spell, Jane's from Shy Tots. So this is actually a, I bumped it up to a 6 milligram. This is a nice little pineapple vape. So gonna go ahead and throw on the music, and let's get this going. back up top with the Ether MTL RTA. So, first and foremost, some stats out of the way. I know did some dive down, but 24 millimeter with the extension slash bubble glass, whatever you want to call that deal. It's not really bubble glass, extension glass. It holds, 4 mils, 2 mils when you use just the standard glass. But I've been using it constantly in the extended long mode with the extended long mode glass. Got the smoke glass, black, because it does come in black, stainless, and a gunmetal, but just murdered out beyond murdering. But I do know there are people that tend to ask, well, if you put it in an extension mode, is that gonna mess up the flavor? It really hasn't. So I tried it in the short mode for a little while, then I put it right back into the extended mode just because the fact that I want more juice capacity. So now one thing I do kind of want to get out of the way, I know I went over in a dive down. I'm definitely not trying to create any drama or anything to that extent whatsoever when I do call this the Trilogy Mini. The main reason why is, in a dive down, like I showed you, the similarities are very, very striking. Now, with that said, and now I can't even remember if I said it in a dive down because I've been trying to catch up on a lot of stuff. With that being said, in my honest opinion, more than likely what had happened is Suicide definitely helped work on somehow with the trilogy with Vapers Cloud. I'm not sure exactly that collaboration. I've heard rumor that they're roughly in the same building company or whatever, so there's probably collaboration back and forth. So more than likely what happened, and again, this is my theory, I have no knowledge if this is correct or not, but just by looking at the two, more than likely Suicide was like, hey, we want to make basically a, what was like the trilogy, but we want something smaller, maybe even MTL. That'd be cool. MTLs and AIOs are really hot right now. Man, who do we go to? Well, one of my first picks would be Bogan because, he does mechs, he does 0.1 builds, he chucks clouds, but he also MTLs. A fair amount, too. Which is kind of funny when you watch some other reviews, you will see that everybody's like, well, Bogan does like 150 watts. Why would he has no part of this. Bogan MTLs. If you watch this stuff, he MTLs as much as anybody. So that would be my perfect pick too. I'd be like, hey, here's what we helped with or did in the past. We want to make an MTL. And more than likely, Bogan's like, you know what? Everything you're doing is great. Let me definitely help you with that deck. Because they might not have known how to do the deck. But again, all speculation. Not 100% sure whether it has anything to do with anything in common or it just is a really kind of cool look and that's why they're so similar. But before you give me flack, I have no clue. This is my thoughts, my opinions, my theories. So I'll get my tinfoil on later. All right? But aside from that, you do definitely know I definitely enjoyed the heck out of the trilogy until another RTA, which you probably know, came along and just completely destroyed it for flavor. But when it comes to MTLing, this thing has been kicking it. Kicking it hard too, and not just because it's Bogan either. It's I do have a K-Fun Lite gifted to me by a subscriber, and I have several other MTL RTAs. Barbie does a lot of she only does MTL. So I have a lot of MTL devices just laying around. And this is the only one that I've constantly, so far through its testing, have had constantly by me and ready to vape. And of course, blue cherry cola. I'm just obsessed with that stuff. But yeah, so what's it going to cost you? Not finding all of a sudden a lot of US sites that had it. I actually bought it straight from the US Vapers Cloud website. So it didn't pop up in Google. So either just because the fact that a lot of UK sites have it, or I've also find it sometimes hard to get Google Vapers Cloud actual US site. It always likes to bring up the UK site. So it should still be available on there as of this recording. But yeah, definitely it's like right at about $60. And then a glass pack is right at $16.99, 17. So it's like 49 pounds. And then I think something like 12 pounds for the glass pack for all the UK viewers. And of course, available through most of the big UK sites out there like Evolution Vaping, Vapor UK, stuff like that. But here first in the US, I would definitely check just the US Vapers Cloud site from there, and then if they don't have it available, try to find some other US sites like Vaping Delights or something like that. EV cigarettes, that's another one that carries a lot of Vapers Cloud style products, or this with suicide mods, they're very closely related, so you should be able to find it there. But yeah, definitely, if you're looking for a very good MTL, I would highly suggest the Ether. And again, the glass pack, completely up to you if you want the extra capacity. It just kind of depends on what you run. If you run like a 1.2 ohm build and go through a mill of juice every 3 days, you don't need the glass pack. But me, I don't quite do that. But yeah, for pros, one of the things is I always thought a good dome was good for flavor production, but like even Bogan had said in his presentation, and now even Grim had actually said it a while back, the sharp steps is actually good for an MTO, where if you're looking for a direct lung, that's where kind of like the dome would be better. So with that, I definitely agree. The flavor production on this is better than a dome of similar design. So that works out really well. I like the clickiness of your AFC. That's really awesome. I haven't got the review up on it, but I really like that with the COG RTA as well. It had that nice click to it. The fit and finish are absolutely amazing. Not a single speck, scratch, dust, anything on it. The finish has got that really nice smooth matte to it. The fact that they include 3 different drip tips, all 3 original tank glasses in the first box, and then of course eventually you can get the longer ones. They just give you so much stuff that even if there was 1 or 2 little things in there, you'd probably be like, well, who cares? I got all this stuff with it. And then of course that exceptional design and etching at the bottom from Cloudbosser Richard, the captain. We all know the captain. Well, at least if you know me, you know the captain. But yeah, they did a really great job. It wicks beautifully. Even if you accidentally overstuff it a little bit, it still works really well. The only thing that I would say for at least a build aspect, the only way you're not going to be able to get good wicking out of this is if you have those wicks all the way at the bottom and they are touching / beyond almost curling on that bottom. Then it's going to be way too much to it. But even if you're almost lightly touching the deck, it's still going to do just fine. Wicks really well. Great flavor production, even with that insert in there. And that'd be the only con I would probably say. That insert, sometimes, even when you juice it up a little bit, sometimes just wants to, you think you got it, and all of a sudden you see it just kind of go, just pops right at a very tight tolerance. But that's not a bad thing. I mean, I guess it's kind of a con if you don't want to mess with it, but then you just don't put it in there. And then you're good. But yeah, price point's a little up there for an MTL RTA, but depends on what you're used to shopping. There are definitely RTAs out there, hundreds of dollars for MTL, so that's kind of a subjective. But for all you get in there and what it does, definitely worth the price. So yeah, really don't have a lot of cons on that. Sorry if you're looking for any. But so, almost no cons, tons of pros. Why are we talking about this? Go out there and buy one. Just go. See ya. But that's all I got today for the Ether RTA. Just want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with the Viking. And I'll check you later.